Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I am Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom Orr. Tom, how's it going?
Tony, it is awesome. We got to hang out last night at the premiere of our documentary, Fight for Football. That was a lot of fun. Everyone seemed to enjoy the film. We got to do a fun Q&A afterwards. You sort of stood quietly off to the side and let me do all the work. So it's basically like this podcast, but in front of a live studio audience. It was a lot of fun.
Well, to be fair, I wasn't the only one standing off to the side letting you do all the work. There are others. So I'm not alone in that. But yes, that's if you've never stood in front of an actual theater audience before, I'm not going to say I would not recommend it. It's just be prepared for it. And then Tom, what I did is I pictured everybody naked.
Did that make it better or worse?
Some instances it made it worse. Yes. But no, it was a good time. It was fun. I've actually never done any of the any meet and greets or any site get-togethers. So this is a first experience for me, and it wasn't as terrifying as I thought. It was fun. Mm-hmm. Got to talk to plenty of people afterwards as well. Talked to plenty of people beforehand. It's really a cool scene. Everybody was happy to be there, which I guess they should be since they came willingly.
They voluntarily gave us money to come see it. So it was like, well, I hope you wanted to be here because otherwise you don't understand how commerce works.
Yeah, I've been waiting a long time to tell you people how I feel about you, and it only cost me, to do this and some time, and now you're going to hear it. And so, yes, there was no Festivus going on, but it was a good time. Tom, I don't know if you know this. It's game week. We are hours away from
what
Ohio
game is
State.
this?
Ohio State, Minnesota, season opener, 2021 season.
What sport?
Football. It's been in the news. It's we've been looking football. You remember from 2019, right?
This is sounding vaguely familiar. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one. This is the one with the rouges, and you get 3 downs. And
it's the one with the bad referees. Although
football.
I don't know if that was good enough.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
I don't know if that was,
now we're on the same page.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Football. Yes. Ohio State at Minnesota kicks off Thursday at 8 p.m. on Fox. Tom, I thought we would. We both thought this. Let's not. We both thought let's throw some bold predictions for this game, and each week I will write a 5 predictions piece for each game. They're not always bold, but as we talked about a couple days ago, they are in a sense bold because I only get about 40% of them right.
This is something you've been doing for years, and every Friday I read this piece. And it's like, how are these bold? At least 4 of the 5 are going to happen. And then after the game, you look and it's like, oh, he went 1 for 5 again. Like, what? This all seems so reasonable and none of it happened. So I figured, okay, well, obviously this is not as hard as you make it look. So we're going to do we'll take your piece and we'll do a podcast and I'll share my 5 as well. And then we'll see every week. You'll go 1 for 5. I'll go 5 for 5. And then the next episode will be, how do you keep making this look so hard?
So I hope not. I hope that is not how this goes. But yeah, I would, my bold predictions would be like TreDja Mitchell will have 7 tackles and he finishes with 6. And it's like, you got it wrong. You're stupid. Like, but
in the haters' defense, you are stupid. In their defense.
And my problem is I just keep putting it out there. Like I let people know. And then I am surprised when it happens. Nobody else is. But so, Tom, let's get started. I will go first because I've already spent the time and I've written. But I believe I will go ahead and publish this before the show post. But my first one, Tom, TreVeyon Henderson will have a play of over 20 yards. Now, he may only get 5 to 10 touches, but I think one of them will go over 20 yards, even if it's just a kickoff return, which is also don't roll your eyes at me because kickoff returns last year, Tom. Do you know how many kickoff returns Ohio State had that went over 20 yards?
Are we counting ones that went 20 yards over to Mario McCall's head as he was kind of waving for a catch?
Come on.
No,
you got to return it.
Okay.
No bouncing, running.
I'm going to guess the number is something really shockingly small, like 1.
It is 1. Ohio State returned. Well, let me see here. It was 7 kickoffs for 93 yards last year. The long was a 29-yarder by Demario McCall. That was the only one over 20 yards. His other return in that game was like 4 yards. So it's time that changes. Now, I'm not just banking on because I'm not banking on the kickoff return because you'd be crazy to bank on a kickoff return anymore. A 7 for 93 is ridiculous, and it's time for a change. And if that change has to be Demario or TreVeyon Henderson, I'm okay with it. But also, I think if he gets 8 carries, will one of those go over 20 yards? I kind of feel like it, or a screen pass or something. I just think if he gets 10 touches, I'm okay. I don't know if he's going to get 10 touches though.
I like the fact that the game has changed enough that Ohio State will return a kickoff is like, oh, that's actually pretty bold. Like we could go with that as one of our predictions. I actually also had a TreVeyon Henderson prediction, so I'll do that one first. Mm-hmm. TreVeyon Henderson goes over 75 yards rushing. Now, I think that's probably a little more bold than yours because going over 75 yards rushing probably kind of necessitates at least a 20-yard carry. So, but I went back and tried to find other true freshman debuts that would have been like more than that, because 75 yards doesn't sound like a ton. I mean, Claret did it. Dobbins did it. I didn't go back far enough, but I'm almost positive Archie Griffin did it because I think that UNC game was the first game for him. I went back like Beanie Wells, 10 carries for 52 yards, and that was against Northern Illinois. And that was a 2016, which is pretty good. So 75 yards doesn't sound like a ton, but it's in the like stratosphere in terms of Ohio State true freshman running back debuts. So that's my first one. Thoughts, comments, or observations?
No, I like it. It's very similar to one that I will go with next, but I think I think we're both equally bold there because you're talking about quantity and I'm talking about quality. They're very similar, but also very different things. But when they're together, that's when you've got something. And I don't know, Tom, I don't think he needs a 20-yard carry to get 75 yards. I think he can be between 8 and 15 yards on each of his carries. And then a kickoff return for 21 yards. And I'll be like, boom. And if he's held to like say 74 yards and then what if he's held to 74 yards with a 20-yard carry? That would be the best for me. That would make me feel really good.
I'm thinking 4 carries, each goes for 19 yards. And it's like, oh, I've got 76. Oh, you've only got 9. Oh, hamburgers. That's a shame. Oh, no.
If that happens, we know that something is up at that point.
This is I think a great example because it's like both of these sound like, well, yeah, I mean, that seems like he's almost certainly going to do that based on everything we've heard. And then you go into the game and it's like he could have a great game and only get 6 touches and go 12 yards each time. And it's like, wow, that's an incredible debut. And it's like, well, we were both wrong. Great, good, fantastic.
Yeah. Get used to it because that's what happens. Mm-hmm. You think, you know what? Because we could do some like really bold, like, okay, what, I'm going to say 170 yards, like a debut, like a Claret or a J.K. Dobbins. And I don't think that would shock us, maybe surprise us, but it's there. Mm-hmm. He's capable of it. But Tom just didn't feel like going that bold yet, whereas I did. So my next one, which is actually my number 5, but I'll stick with it because it's in the same vein. Miyan Williams will rush for at least 82 yards. And I'm not saying that is going to be more than Master Teague or it's going to be more than TreVeyon Henderson. I just think everybody wants to see what Miyan Williams looks like with 15 carries. I think if you give him 15 carries, he's going to get those around there. It might come from the 8 to 15 rather than the 1 to 7, in terms of the number of carries. But also, if they give him 25 carries, Tom, I feel pretty good he's going to get 82 yards. I don't think the 25 carries will come, but I'm siding with Miyan Williams, and I don't know if this leads the team. It may very well, and they may all be between like 60 and 85 or something like that, and that wouldn't shock me either. But I'm going Miyan Williams with at least 82 yards, Tom. And again, this is it's 3 times what he's ever done. So that's bold. Like he's never even rushed for 30 yards in a game. Like this is more than his career total. So that, and sure, yes, your TreVeyon Henderson is the same. Yes, that's more than his career total. So I see you getting ready to jump on that. But this is an established player, Tom. This is not some rinky-dink freshman who's never played in a game. This is a guy who's played in games, and I'm predicting he's going to go over his career total. That's pretty bold.
It's exceptionally bold. I stand in awe of your boldness, sir. It is a remarkable achievement in boldness. I mean, if he has 82 yards and that's not the leading rusher on the day, Ohio State's having a very, very, very good day. It's entirely possible because that's kind of one of the big questions here is like any of these individually is like, sure, absolutely. Now, what are the odds that both TreVeyon Henderson hits 75 and Miyan Williams hits 82? Like, there's only so many carries. They're going to be throwing the ball a decent amount. Like, if both of those happen, that's a remarkably good night for Ohio State. I think they may be, those are working against each other to a certain degree because there's only so many carries to go around. But this is another one that sounds absolutely reasonable. And if you get 12 carries, you get 13 carries, something like that, and you average, 6-7 yards a carry, 6.5 yards a carry, you get there. That's all very, very reasonable. Totally possible. I have a feeling that one of us is going to be right on that and one of us is going to be wrong on that just because there's just not that many yards going around. I don't think both of those hit, but
the fun part will be next week when we talk about our bad beats. One of us brags and the other one just like, okay, let's just please move on to the next game. We don't need to keep talking about last week.
This is if you want to hear us talk about our bad beats, we're going to need one of our listeners to track these for us, because generally the way this works is we do these and immediately forget about them, and then so if you want to help us keep track of it, feel free to tweet at us with these predictions and where they ended up, and keep a running total. And you want to put a scoreboard with our faces on it, like that's fine. That's extra effort, but that's fine. But yeah, that will if you want us to keep track of these and have a little bit of accountability on our parts. That's where you come in, dear friends. That hasn't been a strong point for us in the past.
No.
Next one. This one, I feel like I'm almost cheating because, as we all know, this is the year of the tight end. However, Jeremy Ruckert, 5 receptions, which again doesn't sound like 5 receptions. Doesn't sound like a ton. It's like, yeah, that's like 1 a quarter and then another one somewhere. That puts him on pace for 75 for the season if they play 15 games, or as I suspect, if they play 12 games. 60 receptions of the season. Either one would break the Ohio State single season record. So again, it doesn't sound like a crazy high number, but then if you multiply that and out, and if he does that every game, it would like obliterate every Ohio State tight end reception record. So thoughts?
That's spicy. That's pretty good. And how many of those are one-handed?
The note that just the card says moops. It doesn't say anything about one-handed catches. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I like it. That's bold, because that would be, I don't know if he's ever had that before. So that's right up there. If you're predicting something that has never happened, or at least hasn't happened much, then it's either foolish, Tom, frankly, and that could very well be the case. You could be a complete fool doing this, or this is going to be one of those things where it happens, and then you're like the guy who predicted, I still have all my Sweet 16. Yeah, I haven't gotten anything wrong. Yeah, you got some wrong? How did that happen? Geez. And then that's the kind of guy where that's also the fans who chant overrated. It's like, stop, if you want all of the credit, you got to chant underrated. Like, you got to say, you got to bring it all in. And maybe that's what you will do instead, where you will be like, nobody saw this coming. I was the only person who saw this coming. Jeremy Ruckert, 5 catches. I don't think it'll happen, because they're going to be running the ball with Miyan Williams, and also TreVeyon Henderson is going to cost them at least 1 possession with a kickoff return touchdown. That's not a bold prediction. That's just what I expect to happen. So they're going to lose a possession that way, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'll give that to you.
And then if it doesn't happen in the post-game press conference, you yell at Ryan Day. This isn't so much a question, but first of all, how dare you, sir? You told me that he was going to break the tight end reception records, and then you don't go throw it to him 5 times. Like, what do you, would you call yourself a clown or a fraud, or perhaps a clown fraud? Thanks. I'll hang up and take my answer off air.
Yes, Tom, that's exactly what you want to do. Go ahead and anger up the coaches. Yeah. Boy, that would do it too. My next one, and it almost feels, it's not a free space, but I'm going to say both Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson score in this game. Now, it's a free space to say one or the other. I am saying both. In fact, Tom, it would be more bold if you need a bold prediction. It would be more bold probably to say that neither of them will score. So I am going that they will both score. Do you know how many times they played 21 games together? How many times have neither of them scored in a game that they both played in together?
21 games. I'm going to say that neither of them have scored in 6 of those.
3, and they were all in 2019. There was Michigan State, which was, I think, a 34-10. So that probably somebody should have scored there. Rutgers, nobody, they weren't playing past the first quarter. And then Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game, somebody should have scored there, I think. But I thought I wrote in my notes how many times they have. I think it was 5. I think they've scored in 5 games together and not scored at all in 3. So it would be a little bit more bold to say that neither, but still 5 of 21 games. I think that meets the bold threshold.
Yeah, for sure. I think the over-under, if you're setting an over-under on number of them who scores, you have to set it at 1.5, and maybe you shade the line a little bit down towards the under. But yeah, that's pretty bold because again, it seems like, oh yeah, well, these are both good wide receivers. Certainly they'll catch a touchdown in this game. But then one of them will catch 2 and the other one won't catch 1. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, the 2 of them together will catch 2 is less bold than one of them will catch each, even though it's very similar to the same prediction. It's sometimes Chris Olave will have a long catch and get tackled at the 1. Like I'm not rooting against Chris Olave here, but that's what I'm rooting to have happen here. And then
tight end Jeremy Ruckert in the red zone.
Tight end Jeremy, yeah. I mean, you got to use a tight end in the red zone, Gerd. I mean,
you are trash, Tom. You are complete trash.
Yeah, this is. I'll give you this one. That's if they've only had both score 5 times in the same game in the last couple of years. Yes, this officially counts as bold. I'll give it to you. True freshman receivers. So I am not putting the little asterisk on here where, the NCAA says Jackson Smith. No. We're not counting Jackson Smith and Jake, but true freshman receivers. Marvin Harrison, Emeka Egbuka, Jaden Ballard have more than 4 catches and more than 50 yards combined. I'm not trying to lawyer ball this with the NCAA.
Mm-hmm. No. I think the 50 yards is bolder than the 4 because we saw what happened with Jackson Smith and Jigba last year with 10 catches and 49 yards all season long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I think the 4, although, if Jaden Ballard is maybe not going to be as involved, so you're now you can almost break it down to Egbuka and Harrison being 4 for 50. Like I can totally see it, and it would not surprise me, but it's bold in that these are true freshmen who have never played in a game. So you're saying you're going to go do this. Well, but we don't even know how to play football. Trust me. You're going to be fine. Yeah, I think I'll give you credit for that. Unless you get it right, then I'll be like, dude, these are all Americans. We've seen how good they are all camp long. Of course, although I would say also as 1/3 of the rotation, those 2 freshmen that we're talking about, should each third at least expect to be 4 for 50?
Well, here's the problem. You've got, first of all, I don't think it's going to be an even third. I don't think those guys are getting the same number of snaps as Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson in the first half or Jackson Smith and Jigba in the first half. And if they're out there in the second half, substantially more, that's probably an indication Ohio State's up. So Ohio State's probably running the ball more. So you've got fewer opportunities to have. Yeah, I see you nodding. You just figured out like, oh, this is in fact bold.
I could see. Yeah, you're arguing a fair case, and in fact, you're probably going to convince yourself that it's not going to happen because this is so bold. What am I doing? I'm crazy. How I can't survive on these prices. But everything must go.
If I get this right, it should count as 3 correct answers. That's how bold it is.
All right, I'll give you credit for that one. That's fine, Tom. They've never played. They're 2 freshmen. 50 yards is a lot, and so I'll go ahead and agree that for the sake of this podcast and the bold threshold, because I'm going to need some help at some point too, I'll give you that one. Now, I don't know if I have to bolden this one up. Minnesota quarterback Tanner Morgan will be held under 100 yards passing in the first half. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but I think this is going to be where Ohio State's pass defense is really seen. Because if he throws for over 200 yards in the game, that doesn't matter to me, especially if Ohio State is up. And we saw, you just go back and look at the Clemson game. It's the 400 most meaningless passing yards you've ever seen in a game. And I didn't want to go, that Tanner Morgan will be held under 200 yards because he may throw for 150 yards in the second half trying to keep up. We don't know, and it doesn't matter. You're going to see the real, I think the real Ohio State defense, the planned Ohio State defense in that first half, and I think it's going to be good enough to hold Morgan. And since if we want to go spicy, under 92 yards.
Oh, here we go.
I just reduced by 8%.
Do I hear 85 under 85 yards?
No,
you know what would be bold, Tony? Under 81 yards.
No, 92 yards. And I'll yes, 92 yards. Be held under 92 yards passing in the first half. They're going to want to establish that run there. I think Ohio State is. I think the secondary I'm looking forward to is. I think they're going to be okay. The secondary is going to be okay. They're going to show that they should be good enough for Minnesota. And so I will say under 92 yards. When you read this, when you do read it, it will say 100 yards because for the sake of this podcast, you got to throw a little spice into it.
I'm now going to guarantee that he throws for exactly 93 yards in the first half. It's going to be great. Bold. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. You definitely have to change the article too. Come on, accountability. Yeah, you can't make multiple predictions. That's like filling out multiple brackets. You don't get to do that. Come on.
I mean,
well, go ahead and predict he's going to throw for over 100 yards in the article and then under 100 yards in the podcast. It's like, oh, look, I was right. Oh,
it's called hedging, Tom. Everybody does it, even the pros.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's if that happens, that's that's either very good or very bad news for Ohio State because it's very good news because they can't move the ball through the air, or it's very bad news because they don't need to move the ball through the air because they're moving the ball on the ground. I don't think that you're going to be able to move the ball to the ground enough to have that be good news for Minnesota. So I'll allow it now that you've bumped it down from 100, just because all I want in the world is like a meaningless, like they've got the ball at their own 40 with 3 seconds left in the half. And they just, Ohio State's playing in the like super mega prevent defense. And they just throw a little check down for like an 18-yard gain across the middle as the time runs out. Like, oh man, you'll see me like running across the field. Like, yes, you did it. It's going to be amazing. And then I get kicked out by security. My fourth bold prediction, I get kicked out by security. No, that's not.
That's not so bold if you're going to do it.
My fourth one is a true freshman defensive end for Ohio State records a tackle for loss or a sack. Not just a tackle for loss or a sack. So that's going to be either Jack Sawyer or JT Tuimoloau. It's a little bold because you're not going to get a tackle for loss or a sack in every game. This is not the one certainly where you're most likely to get one because it's your first time playing. We don't know quite where they're going to be in the rotation. I suspect Sawyer's with that second group with JJB, Javonte Jean-Baptiste. He's going to get first half snaps. We'll see when Tuimoloau is out there. We'll see what they do in terms of the rushman package. But if Ohio State can keep them behind the chains, keep them off schedule, you set those younger guys up for an opportunity to play and an opportunity to be out there. And I think one of them at some point cashes in and does something, whether it's a TFL or a sack.
Yeah, and there's one thing that I've learned from doing these predictions over the years is anytime you're predicting sacks, you're going to be wrong. And yet,
that's why see the pros hedge. I heard that somewhere recently, and so yes. I thought, you know what I need to do? I need to hedge this with the TFL.
And I've done something similar, but yeah, I think that's bold because it is two freshmen. We don't know how much JTT is going to play. You expect Jack Sawyer, but again, it's going to be hard to get into the backfield against these guys if they're running the ball. And Muhammad Ibrahim isn't usually a guy that gets tackled in the backfield because he's full steam ahead and he's a tough runner. So maybe Tom would have to be like on a jet sweep, which would be really annoying. My sincere hope is that, yes, one of the two freshmen gets a tackle for loss, but they share it with somebody else. So they get a half a tackle for loss, and you would be proven wrong. And really, that's my sincere hope any day. But
can I change this to a true freshman defensive end records more than 0 tackles for loss or sacks?
Unfortunately, Tom, we cannot edit podcasts. We've not yet reached that level of technology to be able to go back and change something. So I'm sorry, but you took your finger off the checker.
Well, as the person who edits the podcast, let me just be the first to say a true freshman defensive end for Ohio State, either Jack Sawyer or JT Tuimoloau, records more than 0 tackles for loss or sacks. Tony, your thoughts?
You may change that to at least 0 tackles for loss.
Negative tackles for loss would be, that's like a negative of a negative. So that means the offense gains yards. Man.
No math here, Tom. No math here. My last one goes right in line with that. And I have also done the tackles for loss rather than sacks. Tyreke Smith and Zach Harrison will combine for at least 2.5 tackles for loss. And I feel like that's a lot. And anytime I go like over 1.5 on anybody, I get burned. But I'm going 1.25 on each. So maybe that will work out. And I think one of them gets a sack. And then if they can't combine for 2 tackles for loss outside of that, like, what are you even doing here? You should even be on scholarship. So I don't tell them I said that, but I'm going 2.5 tackles for loss on these guys. And it makes me nervous because I always lose these kinds of predictions. But at some point, like these two guys working all off season on getting that split second extra and getting to the quarterback, getting into the backfield, I don't feel great about it, but I think I shouldn't feel great about it, Tom. It's bold.
I like the fact that your logic here is, listen, this never works out for me. And at some point this is going to change. And then it's going to work out for me. That's how gambling works. That's how gambling works. Yes, absolutely. That's the kind of logic that gets you a career just signing baseballs in Las Vegas casinos. Hit King 4192. Yes, that's I could be talking about anyone. It doesn't matter. That's not what we're here to talk about. That's not bad. That's not bad. Because again, this is one of these like classic ones where it's like you look at that on Friday or this week on Wednesday, and it's like, how could that not happen? Like that's ridiculous. That's like, oh, they're going to kick the ball off at some point. Like, yeah, that's ridiculous, of course. And at the end of the game, it's 2 and not 2.5. And it's like, what? How did this happen again? I'm just, if we're really going to do this competitively at some point this year, like I really, really, really want there to be a point where they are there, and then the scorer changes like they had, like they used to change like Dwayne Haskins, like, oh, that was a handoff. No, it was actually passed it forward just that much, so there was a pass. So then Dwayne Haskins gets 70 more passing yards because Paris Campbell took a little touch pass jet sweep for 70 yards. I want that to happen so badly, where you think you've won a week and then they're like, oh, actually, we misread the jersey number. That wasn't Tyreke Smith. That was Jack Sawyer. So I was right and you were wrong. That's
well, Tom,
I don't that could be both my birthday present and my Christmas present if that happens at some point this year.
The problem you've got there is, at least in the home games, I'm in the press box talking to people who are altering the scorebook. And I remember that shovel pass to Paris Campbell where I'm telling them that was a pass and it got changed to a pass. So I don't know if you really want interference like this, because I could be like, hey, no, that was a full sack. That wasn't a half sack. Look how far away Haskell Garrett jumped on the pile. He's a pile jumper. Everybody knows he's a pile jumper. I've been telling you for years, Haskell Garrett is a pile jumper. You have to give that one to Tyreke Smith entirely. And I might do that if it means Like you getting something wrong, especially if it means you getting something wrong. If it means me getting something right, whatever. It happens all the time. It's no big thing. Of course, you being wrong happens all the time. It's no big thing either. But it's more fun when that happens for me.
Well, yeah, obviously. Getting to gloat about being right is whatever. But getting to gloat about the other piece of being wrong, like it is truly the spice of life. And, it is what gets us through 742 podcasts during a college football season. And I really, truly can't wait. Like I think I could make a list of like 150 things I'm super excited about for the college football season. Mm-hmm. And like reviewing these shows, I think is about 42nd on that list. Like it's not right at the top, but it's higher than a lot of stuff you would think. Like that's like 2 spots ahead of like the smell of the charcoal in the parking lots walking into the stadium. Like it's higher than that. So yeah, that's yeah. Let's see. Boy, I've got a couple here. I'm trying to decide which ones because I wrote out 6 just in case we overlap somewhere. I'm gonna give you both of them. I think one of them is more bold than the other, but you can tell me which one you think is more likely, and I'll go with that one. The first one is
I'm gonna choose the least likely, just so you know that.
Yeah, Jake Seibert is a leading tackler on the team. No, that's not. No. CJ Stroud throws 0 interceptions, which I feel like that's asking a lot of a true freshman, or well, air quotes, true freshman, redshirt freshman in his first career start on the road against a Big Ten team. That's asking a lot. The other one is Cody Simon leads the team in tackles, which I feel like is probably even more bold because I'm calling a specific guy and I'm calling it a position where we're not 100% sure what the rotation is going to be and if he's even going to be the starter. He's supposedly healthy. I feel like he's going to be the starter. I feel like the Mike linebacker for Ohio State against this offense, there's going to be a lot of, a lot of Mohamed Ibrahim running up the middle. You're going to see a lot of, like, it's either going to be TreVeyon Mitchell or Cody Simon or Dallas Gant if Dallas Gant is the starting Mike backer, or Tommy Eichenberg if Tommy Eichenberg is the starting Mike backer. One of those guys is going to be the leading tackler on this team for that game. So I guess the Cody Simon one is more bold, but I don't know. Which one do you think I should go with?
I think CJ Stroud not throwing an interception, I think that's likely. I think that's more likely than not because they're going to be kind of safe with him and he may not try to take any outstanding chances. I think Cody Simon is more bold, but also he's one of the favorites to lead the team in tackles. So, Tom, I don't know if that could even be considered bold when he's maybe – like if you put betting favorites, TreVeyon Mitchell's probably one. Where's Cody Simon? He's in the top 3, right?
I think you're going to have maybe one of the safeties. Josh Proctor's probably on there. Josh Proctor's probably in that top 3. Cody Simon and Dallas Gant. I mean, it's kind of like who's going to start, who's going to get the most reps there, how much are they going to rotate? That's the thing. He's probably in the betting favorites, but I don't know if he's really the most likely. Yeah. So he's probably in the 3 to 5 range there in terms of which I'm predicting someone who is the 3rd to 5th. Would you like to pick the 3rd to 5th most likely quarterback to throw touchdown passes in this game? No, I don't think you would. Oh, look. Oh, all of a sudden it's bold when Tom does it. Oh.
Would you like to is it bold to say Jackson Smith and Jigba will lead the team in receptions against Minnesota? Semi. So I guess I will, although would it be bold to say Garrett Wilson? Because Cody Simon could very well be the Garrett Wilson of the tacklers. However, Tom, I'll go with the Cody Simon because I do think it'll be TreVeyon Mitchell. The Will usually leads the team in tackles. We don't know how much Simon is going to play and how much there's going to be some rotating, how much they're going to want to get Dallas Gant in there. So if I have to choose one of these two, and you've put me in a terrible position because I don't like either of them. This is like the opposite of Sophie's choice. I'm going to go with Cody Simon. So go ahead and mark that one down. Cody Simon as the leading tackler as your 5th bold prediction.
Good. All right. So that'll take us. I'm going to have to leave it then in the notes app of my phone, like what our 5 predictions are. So I'm tracking this during the game. I'll have stat broadcast up. So I'm following along.
Don't worry, I'll be texting you.
Yeah, you've got the nice, you got your nice laptop up in the box. You can just text me, keep me posted on how everything's going. And if I don't hear anything, I will also know how things are going.
Who knows? Cell service can sometimes be terrible. Maybe. Plus, I'm also busy working, so it's very busy up there in the press box.
Oh, people don't. Okay, I thought people probably didn't know that you were kidding.
Yeah, because they might throw some cookies. Maybe the lunch is always the dinner this time. Who knows what we're going to get? So it's just going to be a very busy time. But I am looking forward to it. I am actually looking forward to it. Even if I'm wrong this week, I don't care. Football is here, man. I'll take it. And then because I know I've got 11 other weeks to just completely destroy you. In fact, 12 other weeks because we can do bold predictions during the bye weeks as well.
Nice. Exciting. Can't wait.
Oh, you'll see how exciting it is later on when you're asking, please no more. I know like you're week after week of being destroyed. And you're like, can we just do let's just do regular predictions, less bold, or let's just predict that, somebody's going to have a good time.
Just remember this conversation in week 4 when I've won the previous 3 weeks. And then Tony's and I'm like, Garrett Wilson has 700 yards receiving this week. And he's like, that's not that bold. Like, you call that, but come on, predict him to, I don't know, get called for a technical foul and make a bunch of 3-pointers and also hit for the cycle. I don't think that's even a thing you could do, but okay, I guess. And then somehow I'll win that week too.
I'm looking forward to it. So I think that'll do it. Tom, you got anything else?
Nope. Just football is here. Can't wait. Super excited.
Football is here. Can't wait. Super excited as well. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Check out BuckeyeScoop.com. If you're not yet a member, become a member. Also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/BuckeyeScoop. Thank you guys, and we will talk to you later.